Hi, everybody. Rachelle Jones, Lunch and Live, 11:45. It's Friday, July 5th. Yesterday was 4th of July. Um, yeah. So welcome. How was everybody's day? Are we all safe? Hi, Cheryl. Hi there. Are we all safe after? Oh my sakes! I just turned it around. As you can see, my room's a mess. We're getting our carpets cleaned today. That was embarrassing. That was not intended. I'm in my room and everything is on top of my bed because we're getting our carpets cleaned today. And they were supposed to be here at 11, but they're not going to be, which means I can do this like intended, like planned. So anyway, hi, thank you. Thanks so much. Okay, well, today, I gotta be honest, my energy is spun up like crazy. I just got back from the doctor with my son, like I said, like I just posted. The guy was so dang mean, and I was very frustrated at him. And that's like almost never happens. But I'm thinking, who can I talk to about this? I was so frustrated. First, I'm going to do grief work because I'll be way too spicy, very spicy mouth and spirit. So I have to do grief work before I do anything because I feel kind of like wrath inside of me. That's not healthy. Okay, so I posted the other day about my son. So I wanted to go through this a little bit and just kind of like talk to people who, hi Michelle, by the way. Thanks for joining everyone. But people who have kids in their care. So that could be people with kids in their home. Maybe they're raising the kids. Maybe you're an older sibling, an aunt, an uncle. Maybe you are a foster person. You have foster kids in your home, or it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you're a teacher, a principal, a social worker, if you teach the local swim club or whatever. We get it, right? Like just anyone who has kids in their care, these tools are so valuable. And I wish I could give them all to you in these short little videos, but really and truly we need a class. But I want to show you some things that come from a class and why we even get there in the first place. And see what you think. All right. So when we are born, when we come into this earth, we're brand new little babies, and we all essentially come the same way. Naked, probably crying. All we've got is skin and mucus on us, right? And mostly, hopefully, less is meconium. Okay, so we come here though, brand new babies. We don't have any idea of anything except for I don't. We feel perfectly trustful, perfectly trusting. We have a sense of safety simply because we don't know anything different. We don't even know that we're feeling safe. We just do. We're trusting, we're joyful, we're loving, we're just all in each moment, right? We just feel it. We don't even know words for it. And babies, I'm sorry, I'm very itchy. I wonder if I got a sunburn or something on my legs. So anyway, babies, they don't evaluate our safety. They don't evaluate their safety. Are you safe enough to be holding me? They don't evaluate I don't know if I trust you to hold me right now. I'm not really sure that you're cut out for the job. Babies don't know. They don't care. They don't, wonder what our trustability is. My son makes up words, so my brain wants to say trustinisms because I'm sure that's something he would say. Anyway, preschool. Let's see. So around preschool and kindergarten, how does it start to change? That's where I was going with this. Around preschool, kindergarten age frame, you're drawing a picture and you just, if you have kids in your care, you've had the scribbles on the wall, right? That to them is magical art. I made this for you. And your adult brain is like, what is it? And so sometimes you say that to the kid, you say, oh, thank you. What is it? And they're like, I don't know. I made it for you. And you're like, awesome. What should we call it? And they're like, I don't know. But see, when we go into our head and we're like, give me a name for it, we're kind of taking them away from their natural state of being trusting and trustful. They start to wonder, I don't know. They start to sort of put a little doubt in against their natural state of being or their intuition, okay? And then maybe they grow a couple of years, things like that have happened a few times. Hi, Sharon and Cindiana. Then maybe they grow a little bit and they get around to fourth grade. My family is a hugging family, so maybe they hug someone at school and it becomes, oh, you have a crush on him, don't you? We go into our adult brain and start assigning it to the little kids. And so it's like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do what feels natural in the moment, which is I just want to hug my friend or my teacher or whatever. Now it's suddenly, well, I don't know if you should be hugging people when you get around fourth grade, or we're labeling them with, oh, you have a crush on them, don't you? So we start to, again, we're pulling away from our natural state of being our normal, truthful self. And then we start to like hold things back, right? Because we just do. Then we get maybe a little older and we're in eighth grade, and you make a mistake, and me, I make a mistake, and it's like the adults around you, well, you should know that already. I mean, you're old enough now to know better. And we forget that they're kids, right? And so we put this expectation on them that they should just know. But you know what? They're learning through all of this, as we're pulling them away from their natural state of being. They're learning to seek approval from us, right? They want to seek approval from us. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to feel that weird, like, what are you drawing? They don't want to feel those feelings. And we are slowly pulling them away from their natural state of being. Hi, Monique. And so it's about approval. And so by the time you get to Rachelle's age, a good old size of 40, you've got 40 years. I've got 40 years of practice. Well, I mean, truly, I went to grief recovery a while ago, but it doesn't matter. For example's sake, 40 years of being approval addicted, seeking people's approval, not doing things that people are going to be like looking down at me, giving me a look, giving me a tone, giving me that sideways thing. And also, we have to a certain level of that, or we get fired, don't we? So I have 40 years of practice of learning to not trust my gut, what feels right in that moment. I don't know. There's no explanation. I just kind of feel it, right? Hey, brother, why are you doing here? You should be on your fun time there. And then I've got also 40 years of practice of keeping the peace. Again, seeking approval. Just keep the peace. If I keep the people happy, if I keep all the fires out and calm, then I get to feel better, right? But I don't actually feel better. I'm just practicing it, keeping the peace, and keeping that sort of approval addiction. I mean, let's be honest. If we go against the grain, we know that somebody's going to have a look or a tone or an opinion, right? Opinion. Whew, feels like judgment. Feels like criticism. Analysis feels like criticism. Feels like judgment. You'll do it. So anyway, what we practice, we get really good at. So then we come to, I came to the grief recovery method, as you all know. My father completed suicide, but I wouldn't even though I was feeling so terrible, I've talked about all of this before, I was feeling so terrible, even thinking, am I going to take my own life too? I didn't know how low is low enough to take your life, but I think I might be there. I really didn't know. And so I came to the grief recovery method, and but I would tell people, no, I'm fine. Like I barely even knew him anyway. Approval addiction. I couldn't even tell the truth about what I was really feeling in the moment. I would hold myself back for fear of judgment, analysis, criticism, because severe approval addiction going on here. It's just like worse than sugar addiction, y'all. Okay, so grief recovery, the more work I did, every piece of grief recovery work that you do, every relationship that you complete is absolutely valuable, and taking layers off your heart that have separated you from your gut, from your intuition, what you just naturally know to be true and correct. Okay, so we have got practice, years and years of practice at coming away from our natural state of being. Grief recovery method works on you getting closer and closer and closer to that until you're just like, holy cow, it's there. And you start to trust your gut again. So you've got to get connected to yourself, which is invaluable, so helpful for raising kids, right? You've got to listen. There's just some stuff you just got to know. Holy cow, it's quiet in there. You trust your gut and go check. Or you don't trust your gut and you're like, I'm sure they're fine. And then you find Sharpie all over the wall, or I don't know, they painted their sister purple. I don't know. I think I've seen that on the internet or something. But also what you get with every completion you do is space between you and your reaction. For example, at the doctor today, when the kid, needs his cast redone, and it's the tech. I actually didn't see a doctor today. Whoever the tech is doing the cast. I want to just roar at him because I am short, but I'm very mighty in my ability to use words, apparently. And so I want to just like box his ears with my tongue, and that's not good. So at least I can recognize that and feel it and be like, okay, Rachelle, this isn't the time. That's not going to be helpful, and separate myself. I can say a little bit until I feel like that's not going to work, but it gives me space. Because how many of you, something happens and you're reacting? And then you're like, oh, I probably could have adjusted that a little bit. Now you need to make an apology, or you're feeling embarrassed, or you're avoiding that person for the rest of your life. Okay? All those things. This is what we do. This is how we've grown up. This is what we've practiced. We've become really good at, and it's what our kids are learning. So unless you do your grief work, and then they get to start learning something different, so they can practice something different. So I do my grief work. You can do your grief work too. And then what happens? So, well, I have all these examples here, but I don't actually need them. So I have all these situations with my son. Let's say in kindergarten. What does that say? Oh, it was like kindergarten, I think. My husband made his lunch and he's all excited, made his lunch, sent him to school with my oldest child. And the assistant teacher, whatever she is, why does your dad make you such a big sandwich? Okay. Well, I don't even find out about that until the end of the school year, but it did click in that year. My son started, he used to like dance everywhere he wanted to do, right? He used to just be this free spirit. It was amazing and beautiful and so fun to watch. Random strangers would record him as he's doing what he's doing, right? And but he started to lose safety with just trusting his dad, trusting what we're doing, trust started to lose safety there. And then maybe I'm skipping a lot of years, but let's say around fourth grade, I remember we had just gone into school. I homeschooled him after that for a little while. I'd always wanted to, and it worked out. But he started school again in fourth grade, actually the end of third grade. And the kids were mean to him, and he wanted to play basketball with the kids, right? And it's just fun and lighthearted. He doesn't know it's fun and lighthearted. And they were really aggressive, like, you're no good, you know, they wouldn't pass him the ball and that kind of stuff at school, and so it would hurt his heart, and that starts to pull him away from his ability to trust his gut, right? And then let's say around sixth grade, fifth grade, actually it was really fifth grade, there's a lot of comments about weight and different things, and by sixth grade I have an anorexic son. I cannot tell you how challenging on my heart that was. uh, so again, pulling himself away from himself, from his gut, from what is natural for him. And then now he's at ninth grade and we catch up, and he's doing push-ups on his knuckles on the gym floor because he's got pain, and the kids are relentlessly making fun of him, a lot of them, not all of them. And he's hurting, but he's kind of distanced a little bit because he is approval addicted. He is. We can't avoid all of it. Um, and we find out that it's broken, and he gets a cast, and he starts to feel like, I should have listened to myself. And he's saying that. I should have listened. See, those people don't know. Why was I listening to them? But it was a great moment there where we were able to just be like, why did you listen to them, bud? What do you feel now? And we were able to just go into that. So valuable. Okay. Now, yesterday's 4th of July. His cast is literally digging into his skin like this. There's no fingers, there's no space, period. It's digging into his skin. You could see it digging in. So at the end, yesterday when I wasn't around, hi Jones, my husband cuts that piece out because he didn't want to go to the ER, and he thought, I'll be fine until Friday, Mom, but my husband cuts it out. Okay, whatever. So immediate relief. We go in today for a new cast, and it's purple and swollen like a pressure sore was starting to develop, because you can't just put pressure like that. Anyway, during the day yesterday, they went some places where I didn't go, and people were like, oh, it'll be fine. Oh, it's supposed to feel like that. Oh, it's supposed to swell. Oh, it's supposed to be sore. Oh, it's supposed to. Oh, it's supposed to. Oh, it's supposed to. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But he just learned really strongly, but you listen to your own gut. So they cut it off, and he said, no, I'm not listening to people anymore. They cut that little piece off, and we got it redone today, which the guy didn't want to listen to us. But anyway, the point is, are you available inside of yourself to create space to lead your kids? Because they're going through hardship. That's the other point too, is they're going through hardship all the time. Grief recovery is not about death and divorce. It's about any change or something that you wish would be different. It's about anything that just doesn't quite feel right in your soul. So what is that for you? What does that look like for you? But what does that look like for your children? We tend to minimize. I was with someone, they had their toddler the other day, and the toddler was like devastated because he had to come away from this arcade-like game, and he's so sad, and he's got the big crocodile tears, and the parent is, he he thinks that's a big deal, and he just doesn't see the bigger picture of life and all the things. And I'm thinking in my head, this child is not even quite two, right? I didn't know what to say. I didn't really know the person, and I didn't. Sometimes I just want to like jump on people and help them, but then I know they're not always ready to receive too. So, and I can't do that to every human because, well, that's kind of arrogant too. So it's like this really weird balance. But we tend to think that the child's perspective needs to be as big as ours, and I have 40 years worth of perspective. They can't possibly have that at their kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, up to ninth grade. They can't do it. And so it gives us space between what we expect for our children and what's actually happening. It gives us space between what we expect of our children and what's actually happening. It gives us space so we're not reacting all the time, because they just don't respond that way and they don't learn that way. They just learn to be deeper into their approval addiction. And these things, these moments are coming all the time that are going to hurt you as the adult caretaker, right? The kids kind of bullying him and being mean to him at basketball. I don't know, what else do we have here? The kids being mean to him about his weight when he was young. The adults who don't listen and continually knock it down and minimize. You hurt when you see someone not loving and listening to your kids, don't you? Even if it's just a student in your class, you love them, and you hurt when you see people not loving the children, don't you? And if you want to know how to help them through those moments, it's not like kids are resilient and we just push them through and they don't need to, they don't need to acknowledge that stuff and they seem fine now. They seem fine now is another one of those ways that the myths come through. Time heals all wounds. It's a myth. It's not true. It's not helpful. So just because they seem fine now doesn't mean that they're not having build up or carry through of the old stuff. And that's going to really show up around the middle school, high school years, young adult years, or maybe all their adult years, because it's unresolved. Guys, wounds don't heal unless you go back and heal them. So today, the son in the car all by himself, my son starts doing completion work out loud. I clicked in, I knew what he was doing, so I was just the listener I needed to be, the GRM style listener. And he did a full-on completion out loud in the moment to me about his old cast. And the new cast isn't perfect. It's annoying him right here, but it's not putting pressure, it's just annoying. And so he immediately just did a completion right then too. If he didn't, I would have heard about it 27.5 million times on the way home. And then I'd be like, can you just stop it? Right? Because it was unfinished for him. And so he finished it real quick on his own. Do your kids know what to do on their own with all the things that come at them? I just gave you several examples of real life things that come at them. You've got to get out of the idea that grief recovery method is just for death and divorce. It's not true. It's for all the day-to-day stuff. It's for me right now. I need to do a completion on that dang assistant person who just didn't want to listen and was like seriously aggressive and rude and mean, and I'd never seen something like that before. So I need to do that because I'm going to keep talking about it and you guys are going to get annoyed, and I don't want that for you. I don't want that for myself either. So GRM for us is invaluable for us. It helps us get closer to our intuition, to our gut, helps us to settle down some sour energy that might be floating around. Time does not heal it. So when you're 57, 77, maybe 97, if your memory's still good, you're still going to feel it, and so are your kids. So we got to get out of the idea that we can just minimize and let time move through, because it doesn't work. My son, this is going to be a pretty small issue for him because he completed his grief work. So I just want you all to hear this. Do we all hear this? What kind of questions do we have? I have been rambling on like a rambler. Do we have questions today? Invaluable stuff, guys. This grief work for yourself, for your kids. How about when your hopes are crashed? How about when their hopes are crashed? When they don't get the grade they wanted, or that they thought they deserved? How about just all these different little things when their friends just disappear? You get a new friend, and they change schools. That can really happen, going from elementary to middle and then middle to high. They can all change. Sometimes asking the right questions can be hard. Or asking any questions sometimes, yeah. takes practice. It all takes practice because, like I said before, what you practice is what you become really good at. So do we want to become good at unhelpful things, or do we want to be essentially sure? I didn't mean to say that word in the first place, but do we want to be sure that it is really helpful? And our kids, yeah, good one, Jones. And our kids, we don't want them practicing incorrect, unhelpful things either. We want to be certain that it's really helpful for them. I do have some events listed for classes, group classes, but one-on-ones are always happening if you need that, or one-on-one online, or have the 2-day workshops coming up too, September, August. There's one each month on my website. And any advice for asking the right questions? Yeah, of course I have advice for asking the right questions if you all want it. It's just things for you to consider. Excuse me. Um, I have a printout, but I'm not going to use it. Okay, so asking the right question, always follow your gut. If you, first of all, if your child doesn't look like something's adding up, they just don't look like they're feeling quite right, don't ask them if they're okay, because approval addicted people are going to say yes. They don't want to risk your approval. Don't ask them, are you good? Are you good? Is everything all right? They're going to say yes. How was your day? Fine. Did you have a good day today? You've already told me that I have to respond with yes and good if I'm approval addicted, right? Only in certain times are we brave enough to go against the grain and risk approval and be like, no, actually it's a terrible day. So asking really neutral questions. So I kind of sense that something's bothering you. Or I kind of sense that there's something on your mind. What's on your mind? And then sit quietly and listen. Don't avoid energy. If you think something's on someone's mind, address it. If you think something's bothering them, address it. And don't give up because you asked yesterday and they said fine. If they still aren't looking quite right later that day, ask them again. And if they aren't looking great the next day, ask them a third time, but maybe adjust it each time. Hey there, Danny. Basically don't back off when emotions are present. We don't back off when people are joyful. Why are we backing off in the other ways, right? So we just want to normalize feelings. We do that by going first with our own grief work. We do that by sharing about ourselves, like I had posted yesterday about the cast. But yeah, I just feel I apologize that I didn't protect you. I should have listened to my gut. It's hard to undo perfectly. It really is. So we just do the work. I should have just known better. I should have just taken you in. That's a common break from a skateboard. I should have taken very true saying I'm fine is easier because you may not be ready to talk about what is bothering you. True. So true. And so here's something to add to that. Thank you for adding that, Cheryl. So if you want to practice telling your emotional truth, sometimes we say I'm fine, right? Because it's too much work. But we could also say, you know what? I'm not feeling that great. I do have a lot on my mind. Thanks so much for asking. Oh, but really, you can talk about it. I love to talk. Thank you so much. I don't really want to right now, but I really appreciate you seeing and caring. It's good to be seen, acknowledged, and cared for, right? We all want love. We all want safety. We all want acceptance or acknowledgement. So feeling acknowledged is helpful. That's a great place to start, but you've got to also tell the truth about yourself. Um, Cheryl, yeah, awesome. What else? Does this make sense about this approval addiction? Do we get that? It's just kind of a thing that we all have in different degrees. It pops up in different ways. You won't find them all. They'll pop, well, like, well, you think, like, I'm pretty recovered, right? I've done so much darn grief work, but it'll still pop up on me too. Um, do we have questions about that? Do we understand about going first? Does this all make sense? If not, absolutely, Cheryl, thank you. If not, guys, you're welcome to text, call, email me, Instagram, social media connections, whatever you want to do, emailing me through there or commenting, whatever works for you. I would love to talk with you, hear your thoughts, um, walk through ideas with you. If you have topics that you'd like to hear about, send them to me. I'll make sure they stay anonymous, like as far as who sent them to me and the details of the situation. But I need your help because we're working together and I don't really know what you need to hear and what you're wondering unless you let me know. So I just wing it. Well, I kind of planned, but I wing it. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm thankful for you. I hope that everyone made it out of 4th of July unscathed. Like, injury-free? What if you accidentally hurt a little one who can't speak their truth? What if you accidentally hurt a little one who can't speak their truth? What, tell me accidentally. I'm going to just go off it. You can clarify if you want to. I'm not super certain which way you're talking, Cheryl. If you accidentally hurt a little one, like you bump them or you step on their toe or something like this, if they're little and they don't know how to speak their truth, they say ow, they cry, they run away from you. Those are all their truth. If you I thought it was going back. So they do speak their truth. Actually, they're perfect to learn from. They're gonna cry, they're gonna hit you, they're gonna do something, no, you bad, you ouchie, whatever. So you'll know that you've hurt them, and it's okay to hug them. Oh, I apologize. I hurt your toe. Is it ouchie right there? I hurt you. I'm sorry. Is it ouchie? You just want to keep asking and go after it. Don't be like, you're fine, you're good, because maybe they're not good. So we need to be willing to ask them and listen. But you can tell by their behavior because they're perfectly in the moment. They haven't been so pulled away from their gut like a little bit older kids have been. Usually like 5 to 7, somewhere in that range is where they start um, pulling away from their gut, their intuition. But it can go a little further than that too. So you just have to kind of watch the child, but they give you cues, they give you clues. And so you take responsibility, take ownership right then. I apologize for hurting you. Hugging, talking to them, show compassion. Perfect. Yep, exactly. Yep. Just don't be like, you're fine, you're okay, because you're holding them and cuddling them. Don't tell them that they're okay because we don't know that. It's the same thing as telling my 14-year-old, no, you're fine, it's supposed to do that. Actually, it isn't. That's not correct. So similar to that. All right. Is that all for today? I'll keep an eye on the comments and things and see if there's anyone else. I'll put this up on YouTube. I've been putting these lives up on YouTube, by the way, since I'm recording them from home. That's really helpful, so you can comment there as well. Guys, I love you all. I'm thankful that you join in here and that you take a moment to learn something for yourself, for your family, for your kids, for each other, for whoever is around you, your students, who knows. Great job. Great work. I love you. You're all valuable and important to me. And if you'd like to learn more about a class, give me a call or look on the griefrecoveryinstitute.com because they are fantastic. All right. There are always more questions. All right, Cheryl. Well, you send them in, and I'm going to go ahead and let go of the video. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.